with Miss LOL and Coach Rose. How you doing, sis?
I'm good. Hey y'all. Hey y'all.
Ye-
Happy Monday.
yes, and happy belated birthday. I mean, Mother's Day. I'm sorry.
That too. Happy
Mother's
Mother's Day to
Day.
all the mothers out there in the world.
Yes, yes. I must say I was spoiled yesterday by my children,
Mm-hmm.
and
They spoil you all the time though, sis.
I know they some good little
They,
children.
they are. They
Beating them
are.
when they sleep, it really worked. It really worked. It helped raise. They turned out to be good cheering, good cheer.
I can't do this today. I just can't. I just I just can't do this
No,
today.
I'm gonna be good. I'm gonna be good. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? If you whoop them cheering while they sleep, it help them.
Or if you just whoop them when they need to be whooped while they're awake,
Because
that
they
might
may
help
be
them.
dreaming about doing something wrong. You got to get
So
it
you
out their
gonna whoop them
conscious.
in their sleep?
Yes, yes.
So
We're
you
gonna
gonna
get it out
disrupt
their
their
conscious.
sleep?
No, I'm saving their life. Got to be proactive.
Come on, proactive. I told y'all not praying out here in these streets. Y'all got me with her every Monday, acting like this. Y'all know what she do.
So we gonna be good now.
I am.
We being good, and we talking about a serious subject. Go ahead, Miss Rose. Tell us what we talking about today.
So y'all know May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and last week we kind of segued into it a couple of times, talked about a couple of different things, but this week we really just want to talk about some of the signs of first we want to talk about the statistics of mental health and just how I think you printed some stuff off about what mental health is. Will you share what mental health is, and then I'll go into um some of my stats.
Hey, we gonna let you do it, Coach Rose, because you the coach. Because sometimes
Y'all see how she do?
I don't know a whole lot of 4-syllable words, and I don't want to mess nothing else. Go ahead, do that.
So I'm just going.
Yeah, go on,
Y'all,
read it.
I told y'all not praying for me.
I'm gonna
All
drink this
right.
water.
So the CDC. So I want to read this word for word what the CDC says, because if we quote anybody, we don't quote CDC. So CDC says mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. It also determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and make healthy choices. Mental health is important at every stage of life, from childhood and adolescence through adulthood. Although the terms are often used interchangeably, poor mental health and mental illness are not the same. A person can experience poor mental health and not be diagnosed with a mental illness. Likewise, a person diagnosed with a mental illness can experience periods of physical, mental, and social well-being.
See, I didn't even think about that until I read that today. Because is it am I right when I say mental illness is what people take medicine for, right?
So it's what they take medicine for, and then some people don't necessarily take medicine. Some people actually you can talk it out. You can go to therapy, and so not all mental illnesses require you to take medicine.
Okay.
So but mental health, like when we talk about our mental health, that is that's like protecting your physical health. Okay. So when I talk about mental health, sometimes I'm talking about how you let people treat you, how you let people, interact with you. That is important because that can lead to mental illness. If you have poor mental health, where the interactions that you're having are not healthy, the constant communication that you're having with someone, whether they're verbally abusive towards you, that can start to weigh on you, which can then lead into you becoming depressed, you having anxiety. Like if you're about to go see that person, it's like, okay, I don't want to go see this person. You start to have
I know what they're
anxiety.
Gonna do.
So that can poor mental health can lead into being diagnosed with mental illnesses. And I know you said you wanted us to focus on children, because we really do leave children out when it comes to mental health and mental illness. And just as important as it is for us to guard our own mental health as adults, it's very important for us to pay attention to children and their mental health leading into mental illness. Because so with children, y'all know kids are one of two things. They're either super talkative or they pull away from you. if you have a super talkative kid, and this kid is, I mean, hyper, they're always, quote, the life of the party. But then they start to dwindle down where they're not always hyper, or they're not always lively, they're not jovial like you're used to them being. It's time to have a conversation with that kid. A lot of times I know growing up for me, the conversation was always, it was always, you're to be, what is it, you're to be seen not heard, or heard not seen, one of it. But the truth is, we need to have conversations with children. Like, we need to sit them down and talk to them.
And then sometimes, well, with me working in the school system and being a mother of a whole basketball team myself, sometimes having things going on, sometimes they act out because they're depressed, and it's not always they change their what they used to do, because sometimes they're acting out because something is happening at home. And they're afraid to tell, so they just do things to take their mind off of it, and to keep people from noticing that something is wrong.
Right. So adults do that too, but we talking about children right now. I'm gonna get on us adults later. Children. So you bring up a good point when you said that a lot of times they start behaving differently just so that they can take attention off of what is really happening. So let's y'all go with me here for a second. So you have a child who, every time y'all go to grandma's house, I mean, this kid is happy. Let's call little kid. We're gonna call little kid little Johnny. Okay. Little Johnny.
Hey, John.
Hey, little Johnny out there. So we're taking little Johnny. We're going to grandma's house. We get to grandma's house. I mean, little Johnny is excited to be going to grandma's house. He gets to grandma's house. He is playing with all his cousins. I mean, everybody. We kicking it. Everybody's having a good time. That happens 2 or 3 times. Well, the next time you're going to Granny's house, little Johnny's like, I don't want to go to Granny's house. I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Or he starts to ask who's going to be
who's
at Granny's
be
house.
There. Yeah.
So if he starts to ask those types of questions where he's never asked that before, that's a red flag as a parent or a guardian. If you're taking care of a child, that's a red flag.
Why I need to go over there?
Right.
Yeah.
Why do we need to go over there? I don't want to go over there. Well, I'll stay home and you do this.
Stay here? Yeah.
Right. That's the time to sit that kid down and say, why you don't want to go over there? Yeah. Why do you not want to go over Granny's house? And why does it matter who's over there? And if you're going to list everybody who's over there and you start to name names, and that child reacts a certain way when you say someone's name, that's a red flag. Because a lot of times we miss it. We miss the red flags that the kids are giving us. So if you say, oh, well, Rose is going to be there, Trisha's going to be there, Renee gonna be there, and then as soon as you say Renee, he tenses up, or he gives you some type of reaction. You need to talk to Renee, or you need to find out why he doesn't want to see Renee, because obviously the name has triggered something in him.
Renee,
so
or granddaddy,
or
or uncle,
whoever it is. You know what I'm saying? You need to pay attention. And me say this. If
nobody is excluded, let's say that.
Yes. Yeah. If it is someone that's an adult in the family that this child is giving this reaction to, please pay attention. Do not sweep it under the rug and say, oh, you just don't understand them, or that's just how they are. There is a reason this kid is saying they don't want to see this person. A lot of times we dismiss children when they when they are starting to give us reactions, or even when they talk to us and tell us point blank, verbatim, what is happening. We say, oh, well, no, that didn't happen to you. Stop dismissing the children.
Sit down, or this, that, and other. But the truth of the matter is, them holding that in for years and years and years can cause
mental illness. And that's part of the problem. Is this is why children, unfortunately, are starting to choose suicide as an option. And and when they start to cut themselves, when they start to they're self-harming, and they ultimately choose suicide as a way out, this is a result of because people aren't listening to them. And we
Yes.
have to stop ignoring the children. We have to stop dismissing the children, because like Trish just said, it's the ignoring and the bottling up and the dismissing that ultimately turns into them being an adult with all of these mental illnesses now, and they don't know how to communicate healthily, because when they tried to communicate in a healthy manner when they were children, they were shut up, they were dismissed, they were ignored, they, all of these things. So as adults that are parents or guardians or caretakers, or even in the school system with the children, pay attention to the children, pay attention to just slight behavioral changes, because you can learn a lot about a kid if you just really pay attention.
Yes. And you can also learn from them as well. Something else they printed out on here that it says the causes of mental illness. There's so many different causes. But it says early adverse life experiences. You just brought that up, such as trauma or a history of abuse. For example, child abuse, sexual assault, witnessing violence. See, a lot of people don't understand that if you grow up witnessing violence, or grow up, and just think of how many of our young children have grown up in neighborhoods where there's a lot of gang violence, or seeing their mother or dad get abused, or them and their sisters and brothers or whatever, their siblings get abused. That's mental illness.
Here's one thing that you have to understand. Just because something is not happening directly to you doesn't mean that you're not being affected by it. So let's bring it back to 2020 when the pandemic started, right? So let's think about how, yes, you may not have dealt with COVID, you may not have experienced COVID, but the more you watched the news and you saw that death toll keep going up, at some point in time, it had an effect on you. I literally stopped watching the news because it got to a point where I was watching the death toll go up, and every day I was getting sadder and sadder and sadder, because this is you showing me that people are dying. This is you counting the deaths that are happening in such a short period of time. So whether something is happening directly to you or not, you are still being affected by it. So if, yes,
because
a
it's
child,
reality.
right. So a child being in the home where the mother is being abused, or the father, because men get abused as well. So the mother or the father or the guardian, the caretaker, whomever is being abused. Yes, that abuse is not happening directly to that child, but think about the moments that that kid is maybe hiding in a closet, trying to stay away from what's happening,
and trying not to be heard,
trying not to hear what is happening,
and to compress a cry,
right?
Because they don't want to be heard, because they figure if you hear them crying, then you're coming after them next.
Yes, I mean, it's so many things that we don't take into consideration when we talk about people who experienced trauma when they were growing up, because the abuse, quote, didn't happen to them. They were in the area. It didn't happen to them, but it was their cousin. Well, if that's a cousin that they're close to, it's going to affect them as well, because the cousin is going to start behaving differently. And if the cousin behaves differently, their relationship changes, and it's going to affect the way they start to relate to other people. So it's a lot of stuff that we ignore and that we don't pay attention to, that really we could get on the front end and help the children talk it out, so that when they grow up into adults, they can actually have healthy relationships and healthy conversations.
Now, this is one that I read that really people don't even think about can cause a mental illness, but it can, because you have to go through it and you have to face the fact that it's real and it's happening. It says experiences related to other ongoing chronic medical conditions such as cancer or diabetes.
Absolutely. So, I mean, any type of illness, like any type of physical illness, definitely has an effect on your mental health. It has an effect on your psyche. Think about it. If you go to the doctor says to you, "I'm sorry, you have cancer." The first place you hear those words is in your head. And then before you even think about what it's going to do to your body, you're already thinking about how your life is about to change because you've been diagnosed with cancer.
I'm gonna die.
Right. So at the at the onset of that diagnosis, you've already gone somewhere in your head that you never imagined going. So any type of illness, of course, it's going to mess with your psyche. Of course, it's going to mess with your mental health. And if you don't have the right outlet for it, it can cause more problems. Because now not only are you dealing with the physical aspect of it, but you're dealing with the mental aspect of it. That's why they say your mind has to be strong. You have to have, you know, whenever you're diagnosed with cancer or really any type of illness, you have to have the right people around you in order to be able to combat that illness. Because if you don't, if your mind gets gone, it's real hard to pull you back out of there.
It is. And I can relate to the fact now, thank God I've never had, I known people who have had cancer and you know, didn't survive. I mean, you know, that passed away from it or whatever. But me being a type 2 diabetic myself, I know how it changed my life because I can't do certain things like I used to. I can't eat like I used to. Um and even the medicine that I take to make it better makes me sick. So, you know, that right there in itself, it's like, okay, I got to do this. I got to do this. And sometimes it weighs on you, you know, like sometimes when I can't make it to do certain things or, you know, family outings are even different, you know, even going out to eat and certain things because it just does things to my body. And that takes a toll on me because it makes me feel like, I mean, it just makes me feel like it makes you feel depressed sometimes, you know. And you try to you know, deal with it the best you can, but when you have to take medicine for the medicine that you're taking,
that's, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. You gotta, it's when it comes to, you know, the chronic illnesses that cause us to get in a place in our minds that's not so healthy for us. I mean, that's why we got to take care of ourselves to begin with. You know what I mean? So that when we get these diagnoses, we can ultimately combat them and win over them, right? Because they've told you what you need to do. Now you just go forth and do that so that you can get yourself back into a healthy place mentally and physically. But yeah, as far as like other causes for I want to talk about depression specifically, because before I talk about depression, let me share this statistic with y'all. According to Hopkins, 26% of Americans 18 and up, so that's 1 in 4 adults, suffer from a diagnosable mental disorder per year.
Wow.
So that's literally, if you're in a room right now, so it's 4 of us in this room. Yeah. So 1 in 4 of us is dealing with a diagnosable mental disorder. But that it doesn't stop there.
That probably is me. That probably me.
Stop.
That's probably me.
Stop. Stop it. but it's more. It can be more than just one.
Yeah.
That's just the base foundation. The base statistic. That doesn't mean that it's just one of us. Yes. It can be all of us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's one. Women are more likely. I
know it's 2 for sure. I know who the other one is.
Okay. Women are more likely. Women are more likely to develop the bipolar and well, really any depressive illness. So that's bipolar. That is I always say this word real weird, but dysthymia. That's when you are feeling helpless all the time. That's when you are feeling real hopeless. You just feel real sad and despondent all the time.
Well, why is that for women? Do you know? Why is it more for women than it is
well,
men?
Think about how many different roles a woman plays in life, right? And this is not medically, this is not a medical thing. This is Rose's opinion. So don't y'all go quoting that Rose said medically ... No.
When I go to I'm gonna say Rose said.
This is my opinion. I believe that it is because women wear a lot of hats in life. And because we wear a lot of hats, we're being pulled in so many different directions, and we pour out so much of ourselves that we don't ever take the time to really take care of ourselves. So because of that, there's a lack of care that we give ourselves. So even when we start to fall into those depression episodes, where we go those 2-3 weeks where we're sad and we're not feeling like ourselves and we're not doing the things that we normally do, we're not checking in with ourselves and we're not asking for help.
Yeah.
So by the time we reach out and ask somebody, we're far down in there. Yeah. I always say, if you start to feel like you're drowning, that's the time to ask for help. Like, really and truly, don't start drowning before you ask for help, because I can't swim. So the minute I get in some water and I can't touch where is the bottom of the water, I'm reaching my hand up for help. And it took me a minute to get there because I didn't always ask for help. Because again, we're taught that asking for help is showing some type of weakness. And it's, who said that? Like, that's a lie from the pits of hell. Asking for help is one of the strongest things you can do. So I personally believe it's because we wear so many different hats, and because we don't give ourselves the care that we really need. That's why I think.
Yeah. And I think the difference between men and women is, like, women, we are emotional, and we tap into our emotions more, and we let more things, we have more sympathy and empathy for things. So men are providers. They work. They providers.
Yeah. So let me help you with that statement, because I used to say that too. Women are emotional. Let me help y'all. We're all emotional. Men are emotional too. When they get angry, that's an emotion. But what we do, we feel our feelings more.
Yeah, and that's what I meant.
No. Yeah, because I used to say it the same way that you say. I'm emotional. Well, we're all emotional. Men, women, everybody. But what we tend to do differently is how we feel our emotions. Like men. Okay, so this side note, we have to stop telling little boys to stop crying. I just need to say that. I need to get on that rant for just a minute. So bear with me while I go on this soapbox. Stop telling boys to stop crying. Number one, crying is a natural,
and you need to.
A natural thing. Crying does not make you a punk. Crying does not make you weak. Crying is cleansing. So I say this to everyone who is listening. If you have a little boy in your life, a young man in your life, if they cry, let them cry.
Tears are prayers to God.
Period. So stop telling children, especially boys, that they cannot cry, because that is why we have so many angry adult men, because they don't know how to deal with their emotions. They have bottled it up so much. And then when it gets to a certain point, when it all comes out, it comes out in a negative way. So please and please, I'm asking y'all to stop telling young boys to stop crying. First of all, let me help you out. Jesus cried. And at the end of the day, somebody had to see him cry, because it said Jesus wept, which meant somebody saw him crying. This is why they were able to write that Jesus wept. So stop telling little boys, little girls, stop telling people to stop crying. That is a natural thing to do. All right, I'm off my soapbox, because I have to let y'all know for a second, because we really need to stop doing that, and it's hurting us more than it's helping us, because then it also keeps men from sharing what's on their heart, like from sharing their emotions, because they feel like if they start to feel their feelings, or if they start to share what's wrong with them, that's a weakness. Like, it's not. They need to share just like women need to share. Women will sit around and talk about their feelings all day, every day.
All day, every day. And sometimes you get men who will share their emotions.
Sometimes.
So, and with that being said, I have a friend who wrote a song that I want to play for you guys. And before I get into the song, I just want to say sometimes it takes us to get together as a family, sometimes and just do stuff. You remember when families used to get together and just listen to music and eat and laugh and play? You still do that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
What was you about to say? You was about to say something else.
I was just gonna say my family, we ain't do that. We're
Yeah,
doing that more now. Like when we
oh,
were
okay.
younger, yeah, no.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Us doing that was my daddy would tell us to go get a book and read.
Oh,
And if
okay.
we didn't get a book, he'd say, go get the Bible and read the Bible. Every
Okay.
year we had to read from Genesis to
Okay. Well,
Revelation.
I'm like thinking like
No
old
other
school.
people.
Anyway, Gil, you remember when your family used to get together?
You asked me a question. I was being honest.
Barbecue, yeah, and eat and yeah, and have fun, and something, to me, that kept a lot of us together, family unity, and it helped with the mental part. Don't you think? Because you were there, and then you had the matriarch of the family who could look at you and tell something wrong.
Absolutely.
And she would say, "Come here, baby, let me talk to you." And she'll sit you down. And she was just like the say the word. Yeah, the psychologist of the family. And she was she was the way maker. She was the person that just made sure everybody was okay. And so my friend, he lives in Huntsville. His name is KO. Real name is Ken, or he goes by KO, but he makes some of the most emotional music. I mean, he sings gospel, from gospel to R&B to country. And I just love his music, and I just wanted to play this song, and it's called House Party.
Okay.
Because sometimes we need to get together with each other and just have a good old family house party. Um, I mean, not nothing just outrageous, just a nice family house party. We call it a get together.
Get together.
Yes, it keep a lot of kids out the street.
It does.
One that everybody can go to, not just adults. A good old family house party. Play the song for us. Facebook. He's on YouTube. All his music is on Spotify. But that's Keenor, and I'll be playing a lot more of his music. But that's the one I chose today because we need to. I really think family. We need to go back to family. You know, the way we used to, and we need to pay attention to it, make it a family thing. Like we were just talking about, mental health and physical health goes together. Well, we need to get together and have family workout days.
Yeah, it could be field day, say
anything.
Let's go on out to the park.
We used to play kickball, girl. Yeah, we used to go play kickball. Now I had to have somebody else to run for me. But I used to kick it, and I used to. I'm like, you going fast?
I'm so done.
Keep going. I'm almost
so done. So done with you. I told y'all not praying. Y'all not praying for me. Y'all not doing it. I can't do this. I can't do this with you.
I'm just saying. My son ran track. Okay. He just giving back. So I let him run for me. But I played. I was out there.
That's good.
Yeah.
But you gotta run.
Yeah. No, I can't. No, that running. Now I can walk real fast.
Real fast.
But we trying to win, so I'm gonna let him run for me.
When he get to the third base, then you go stand on third base and you walk home. You so funny. So funny. Yeah. I wanna give y'all a couple more statistics about mental health and just our community, the Black community. So 13.4 the US population, 13.4% of us identify as African American. Okay. Of the 13.4%, 16% report mental illness in the last year.
Wow.
That's 7 million people. So think of everybody that lives in Chicago, everybody that lives in Philadelphia, and everybody that lives in Houston put together. All three of those cities, 7 million people, 7 million African Americans reported having mental health illness just last year. Last year.
Wow.
And the number only keeps going up. So this is why it's important for us to really pay attention to our mental health. And if you have been diagnosed with a mental illness, that's okay.
It is.
It's okay. If you are on medicine, take your medicine as prescribed. Don't come off of your medicine because you've had a couple of good days. Stay on your medicine. We have to stop not taking our medicine. And this is for physical health too. I don't know how many conversations I have with people about taking their medicine when they're prescribed. If you went to the doctor and they gave it to you, take your medicine.
Take your medicine. Exactly.
Just take your medicine.
Yes.
But the more you talk to someone, the more, if you're not feeling like yourself, if you're having, I know we all have bad days. We all have bad days. We all have those things that trigger us, like yesterday being Mother's Day could have been a triggering day for people.
Yes.
A lot of people were sad or whatever. That's an understanding of that's understood that it was a day that made you sad. But if you're having 2 weeks straight of sad days, of I don't feel like doing the stuff that I normally do, of I'm feeling real just I don't want to go anywhere, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Yeah. If you're having 2 weeks straight of that, it's time to talk to somebody. Hopefully you talk to somebody before the 2 weeks. But at 2 weeks, you're at a place where you literally could be diagnosed as being depressed. Yes. So the goal is that you talk to someone before, but seriously, y'all, if you're having 2 weeks, if you see someone, and this is another thing with us as people, as adults, like we hide stuff very well. We do a good job at hiding stuff. So, bringing it back to myself, after my dad died, I was the put everything, making sure everybody good, but
one checking on
everything. And so after everything was done, we buried my father on February 1st, 2014. And it was like after all that, everybody going home, everything is back to quote normal. It hit me.
Yeah.
And for the last 3 or 4 months before that, we had been taking him to, his chemo therapy, his doctor's appointment, all those things. So we had gotten into a routine. Well, everything has stopped now. And that was when my new normal hit me. Like, wait, my dad is not here anymore. And for a while, I would get up, go to work. I would do what I was supposed to do on the outside of the house, but I would come back home and I would literally get in the bed.
Yeah.
If I got home at 3:30, I was in bed until 6:00 the next morning when I had to get up and go to work again.
Yeah.
And I did that for literally like 2 or 3 months. And finally I was like, hey, Rose, this is not you. Something is wrong. Something is not right. So I went to the doctor, told her what was going on with me. And she was like, well, you have major depression disorder. So I was like, well, what we need to do? Because I know that this is not who I am. I know that this is not how I operate. So what do I need to do? So I started therapy, started working on talking it out, getting all that stuff out of me. I didn't have to be on any medication, but had they given me medication, I would have took it.
Yeah.
I would have taken it because I knew that that's what was going to help me get from where I was to where I needed to be. And so I say that to say to you, if you see someone that, they're normally coming to all the get-togethers, all the
always
gigs, all
with
the
Tupperware,
events,
always with the aluminum foil from the pack up their place and put it in the car.
What does that have to do with any?
All right, okay, come on. Yeah, them people. Yeah.
With the Tupperwares and stuff.
Yeah.
If they're always at every get together, if they're at every event, if you see them places and then all of a sudden you don't see them, if they're making, plans, but then they don't show up, they don't call to say, hey, I'm not coming. They just don't show up.
Yeah.
Check on them because at that, there's something wrong. Right. And we always say, oh, they good. They just busy. They probably tired. Let me tell you what I used to say all the time. Oh, I'm tired. I'm going to tell you that I'm coming now. I knew I wasn't going, but to save face, I would say, yeah, I'll be there. What time? What time does it start? ... This, that. I'm telling you, you making plans for me to show up. And then I just wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
And if you're starting to get, if you have a friend that's starting to become, as they say, flaky, check on them. Because it could just be that it could be that they're dealing with something a little deeper than, oh, they're just being flaky.
And I want to say too, don't put a time limit on how long it takes you to get over certain things you go through.
Oh yeah.
Don't put a time limit, because some people say, well, that happened a year ago. You should be over that. This happened. No, it's not. I had to realize myself, and thank God that I'm a comedian. He gave me that, because the stage is my therapy. And I remember my mom died in 2013. And then my dad died in 2014. Well, when my dad died and my sister called me screaming and hollering, which, by the way, was a diagnosed schizophrenic, bipolar, and I had to be there for her as well. But when she called me screaming and hollering, I picked up the phone to call my mama. I realized right then that it hadn't sunk in that
you hadn't grieved.
Yeah, I hadn't grieved. I hadn't dealt with it. And as I'm dialing the number or pushing the button, and her mom comes across the phone, and I'm like, I can't call her. What am I to do? So I called my pastor, and he said there's nothing you can do. So it's just you need to take the time for yourself to help yourself. I had to realize that. I was reading this right here too on the CDC. It says more than 50% will be diagnosed with a mental illness or disorder at some point in their lifetime. 50% of people.
Just that's the people that go.
Yes, that's not even the people. That's correct. And it says 1 out of 25 Americans live with serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, or major depression. And I've had people in my family with both. And it's hard to deal with, because where some people understands what's going on. Like me, I'm the person that understands there is a mental illness. But then other people in the family is like, ain't nothing wrong with them. They just acting. They just showing out. They just won't. And I'm like, no, they can't help it. They can't help it. You know, so how do you deal with, because I'm sure when you have a mother and a father sometimes who has a child who has an illness like that, and then the mother is telling you something wrong, and the daddy might be saying, or either vice versa, saying no, he just need a whooping. He need to sit down. Ain't nothing wrong with him. He just acting up. But the mother knows. I remember when I took my child to get him evaluated because he kept getting in trouble, and he started getting in trouble to the point to where he was about to hurt himself. And I said, no, it's time out. It's time. And when I took him, the lady thanked me at the center, and she said, because most people wouldn't realize this in their child, and they let it. She said, I want to thank you for bringing him in to get him help. I said, I'm responsible for him. He don't belong to me. He belonged to God. God just gave him to me to take care of him until God, till he called him home. He don't belong to me. So I can't fail God. So whatever y'all got to do to him, what y'all got in here, give me. I might need a little pinch of it too. Pour me some up. Let's go ahead and get them together.
Pour me some. Really, pour me some. Yeah. I to the point that you just brought up about if you have two parents and they don't agree on what is happening. Yeah. Let me say this. To the parent that doesn't, quote, agree, it can't hurt and it won't hurt to just go get them tested, or to go get them evaluate, get them in front of somebody who they can talk to. Because at the end of the day, what if something does end up being wrong and you didn't take that opportunity to go and get them tested or have somebody talk to them? So the least you can do, or the bare minimum, is to let someone talk to them. Because a lot of times when we're in the mix, we don't want to necessarily believe that, oh, my kid has this, or my kid is dealing with this. It's okay. You're not alone. Your kid is not alone. That's why there are people out in the world that have studied these types of illnesses so that they can assist your child, somebody else's child, their own child, whatever the case may be, with these
because problems. I had to, when this happened to my child and I had to get him help, I'm telling you, it took me for a spin in my life. And I'm like, what am I to do? I don't know. I can't control him. He's not. And so, there are biological factors or chemical imbalances in the brain that causes this. And I went back to school and did medical assistant and got certified in medical assistant because I wanted to find out what was going on in my child. You know what I'm saying? What was going on. And he told me, and he broke it down to me so well, that it's just a chemical imbalance where your body does not produce enough, because he was ADHD, produce enough dopamine to keep you balanced, your homeostasis balanced. So that's what it was. So I understood it better. So therefore what I had to do is watch what I fed him, watch his sleep habits, watch things that he listened to, things that he watched on TV, all of these things I had to, try to make sure I paid attention to, because it was driving me crazy. I couldn't understand, why is he acting out? Why is he doing this? And I was so reluctant in the beginning, I know, to put him on meds. And I, because the teachers kept calling me. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that, he did it. And I'm like, he a child. Yeah. He a child. Until one day, his teacher, I love her to death, Miss Blackman, I love her to death. She pulled me in the hallway and she had tears in her eyes. She said, I love him like he my own. She said, please go get him some help before When he gets older, he's in class and they're going to label him as a trouble child and he won't learn nothing. She said, go get him some help. And when she told me that, I went and I did. And like I said, that lady thanked me for bringing him in. Let me tell you the difference, Rose. Before I got him help, every day when I would give them a bath, I always would ask them, how was your school? How was school? What did you do? How was things going? Before I gave him the medication, I would ask him this question. He would say, we ate lunch. We went outside. We ran. We did this. That's everything was just action. After I gave him that, I gave him a bath that night. And I asked him, I said, well, how was school? What did you learn in school today? He said, we read this book. I learned this. I learned that. The difference was he was in school. They was teaching it to him, but he wasn't retaining it. And once I gave him that, and it helped him. So all you're doing by taking your child is you're helping them. You're helping them. And I broke down crying because I felt like I was neglecting him all this time and I was putting the blame on somebody else. But I just needed to get him that help. I remember I took him out to eat. We went to Ryan's. Ryan's closed. Now we went to Ryan's.
I love me some Ryan's.
Yeah, honey. But usually when I take him there, oh, honey, he be over there trying to grab somebody. I'll be like, come here. Get out from over there. Come here. That boy went in and sat down at that table. He just sat there. And I was like, is this my child, Lord? I don't know if this is my child. Then he said, Mama, is it time for us to get up and go eat? Girl, I almost fell out the chair. I was like, Jesus. Somebody done kidnapped my child and put this some. What had done took it
like that?
Lord. But it just takes. You have to check on people, and you have to pay attention to different things. And I just thank God that He gave me the wisdom, He gave me the knowledge, and the sense enough to say, this ain't how he's supposed to act.
Yeah,
this is not right.
And that's really good. And yes, thank you for paying attention and going and listening to the words of his teacher, because another thing is a lot of times it's just the fear of not knowing. So the thing that you can do for yourself is to go get understanding. Like, if you want to know, just go get understanding. So it doesn't hurt to go talk to someone first, so that you can get an understanding of what is the going problem on, so that once you get an understanding of that, then you know how to properly.
And I think one of the things is with parents, mothers, fathers, whoever it is, when this happens, you feel like you failed your child. You feel like that you have you're not a good parent, because they say your children are a resemblance of you. So when they act out and they do these things, and you thinking, what did I do wrong? I failed as a parent, and that was my mind. You know what I'm saying? What did I do? But then this lady told me, she said, I know it's not you, right? Because you have 5. Your other 4 does not act that way. All of them are good. It's just this one. So he said, what he's doing, he's not responsible for. He don't know, because if you raise all the rest of them and they understand and they do what but he's defying you, because the other ones act like they scared of you. They know that you're gonna get them, that you're gonna lay hands on them. This one act like he gonna jump at the devil. That one act like he gonna jump at the devil.
Don't do him.
You know what I'm saying? He like, I ain't scared. He gonna square up with him. That one right there. And so thank God for some sense. Okay.
Yes, thank God for that. Yeah. So to the parents, thank you for sharing that with us. So to the parents of children who maybe acting out in school, maybe having different behavioral issues of one kind or another, take the time to have a conversation, not only with the teachers, but also with your child, so you can understand what they're experiencing. I think a lot of it is we just don't communicate. We don't communicate with the child. We believe, oh, you a child, you stand in the child's place. Well, the child's place also has weight, because it's the child that's living the life. So give that child the opportunity to let you know what is happening with him. or her, so that you can better understand how to be there for them. Yes, you have 5 children. Yes, the other 4 were not having the same, behavioral issues that he was, but that doesn't mean that, that you still parent all of them the same. You have to you give each child what they need.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
just because it's 1 out of 5 still doesn't mean that you don't need to pay specific attention to each one. So to parents who have multiple children, to parents or guardians or whomever that are around children, take the time to really have conversations with the child. I always say, when I have my children, we're gonna sit down and have conversations with each other, because at the end of the day, they're human too, and they can tell you better than anyone else can tell you what is happening with them.
Yeah.
And when you know what's happening with them, get an understanding so that you can help them better. Because a lot of the children that are, falling into the place of choosing suicide or choosing self-harm or choosing to act out in a certain way could just be because nobody's listening to them.
Yeah.
And if you talk to children, you can get, you can help them better.
That's some of the best time in our house is we don't cut the TV on. We'll just sit around in the living room and talk about how they be like, you remember mama whooped you about this and this and that, and they just bring up stories.
All your conversations be about you whooping your children?
The same reason why I ain't now one of them been to jail and
I
graduated from high school.
Hallelujah.
And been baptized. Hallelujah.
Yes.
That's the reason why right there.
All right.
But them the best times in our house, honey. We'll sit around and just get to talking and laughing. We'll do it for hours. So you take the time, pull them away from the TV.
Yep.
Pull them away from the game and the music and all of that stuff. Sometimes, and just talk. Just talk. And I got this little bitty room, and sometimes all of them want to come in there and talk at the same time. I'm like, y'all got to line up outside the door, because it ain't enough room in here. Somebody, but we all have conversations. I mean, do it the way you can.
Yes.
But just, take time and have family time.
Yes, make talking to your children normal again. Like normalize that, and don't let the only time you talk to them children be when you're mad at them or when they've done something wrong. Like, talk to them when they've done something good. Just talk to them, period.
Or just bust up in the room. I bust up in their room all the time. I'm like, what you doing?
But they grown ups though.
So
don't.
I will bust up in the room. Hey, what y'all doing? I be calling them. We got a group text. I be like, where y'all at? What y'all doing? They don't answer me all the time because they don't be wanting to talk to me. They be like, yeah. But anyway, I'm gonna send a message or something. You got to stay connected.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Stay connected and let them know. That helps a lot.
Yes.
For them to mentally know that someone cares and someone is always there.
And when you create that healthy communication, they're more quick to come tell you if something is wrong and if something is not right for them. So if they're being bullied at school, if somebody's touching them the wrong way, if somebody's doing something to them that should not be doing, if they're feeling some type of way, they'll come talk to you because they know how to have healthy conversations with you. And it's not just, you done did this wrong. You didn't wash the dishes before you went to sleep. You didn't put that up. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. Your grades are bad. Like, kids need to hear just as much praise and just as much encouragement and just as much positive talk as we do, if not more, than we do the negative.
And then when they become adults, you got a different conversation. But like, you need to pay that light bill, you need to pay that water bill, you need to take that garbage out and stuff like that. Communication.
Healthy communication. Healthy communication. So whatever that looks like for you in your household, make it work, okay? Make it work, y'all. Make it work.
Listen, Coach Rose, as always, I love being with you, but it's time for us to go.
I know, right?
But y'all just pray for your families. Pray for your sanity. Pray for just your mental health and physical health as well. We'll be back next Monday, as always, with Mental Health Mondays. Miss LOL and Coach Rose. And the lines are always open when we're here. You can call and ask questions. Ask a question. Just
Y'all ask
Make sure it's
yes. The lines are always open when we're here.
Yes. So we love y'all so much. And just remember, no matter what goes on in your life, there's help. There's always help. You can always get help. And no matter what you do, remember to always pack a smile. See you guys next Monday. Mwah.